Hello and welcome to Talking Golf with Gary. This week, the dynamic Gary will introduce you to all kinds of topics pertinent to this past week of golf. He'll give you some tidbits of information as what's coming up and take you on a tour around the world for all of the golfing highlights. Sit back and enjoy Talking Golf with Gary.
And hello and welcome to Talking Golf with Gary, number 149, recorded on January 29th, 2012. And I hope everybody had a great and terrific week as there was lots of fun and lots of action going on in the world of golf, especially on the West Coast and in the European Tour in the Middle East as they played a tournament, and Tiger Woods made his first appearance of the year. And Phil Mickelson made his second appearance of the year, and that was at Torrey Pines in the Farmers Insurance Open. But it was Brandt Snedeker that won the Farmers Insurance Open in a playoff that no one imagined possible until Kyle Stanley hit a wedge into the water and made triple bogey on the last hole. Snedeker had a tap-in birdie on the 18th and was so certain he would be the runner-up that he drove up to the media center for an interview just in time to see Stanley run into trouble. Both players made birdie on the 18th in the playoff, then Snedeker won on the second extra hole with a 5-foot par putt. Stanley's putt from about the same length caught the right side of the lip. It was a devastating loss for the 24-year-old Stanley, who led by 7 shots in the round and was 4 shots ahead as he stood on the 17th green. Kyle Stanley led by 7 shots early in the final round and still had a 4-shot lead at the 18th, as we said. And just like that, he went from being anointed rising star to a meltdown that ranks among the most shocking in golf history. 2 playoff holes later, both were in shock. Snedeker's tee shot hopped over the green and would have gone into a canyon, except that it bounced off a television tower. He chipped it to about 5 feet and made the par putt. Stanley 3-putted again from just outside 45 feet, his 5-foot par putt catching the right lip. Stanley, whose power, poise, and polish was on display all week, was reduced to tears. His eyes were glassy and his lip quivered as he tried to answer questions. A sad ending to a great week of action and what a lot of people thought was going to be a quite a new career starting off for the young man. But, Snedeker is making a habit of these comebacks. In all 3 of his PGA Tour wins, he trailed by at least 5 shots going into the final round. At Hilton Head last year, he came from 6 shots back and wound up beating Luke Donald in a playoff. This one was, you would have to say, and I think he even admitted that this one was handed to him on a silver platter. Not so with Robert Rock, as he went out and held on Sunday to hold off U.S. Open champion Rory McIlroy and former Masters and 14-time major winner Tiger Woods at the Abu Dhabi Golf Championship for the biggest win of his career. The 107th ranked Rock shot a 2-under 70 for an overall 13-under to beat the 22-year-old Northern Irishman by a shot, and to beat the great Tiger Woods by 2. Woods finished in a tie for 3rd with Thomas Bjorn and Graham McDowell. Matteo Manassero, the 18-year-old Italian, and George Cutsey of South Africa were a further shot back. Woods started strong, and it looked as though he might pull away from Rock, sinking a 40-footer on the number 2 hole for birdie and chipping to within a foot of the cup for a second birdie on the 3rd. But Rock, who said he was a bit overwhelmed to face his idol, didn't blink. He also birdied 2 of the first 3 holes to keep pace. Then Tiger began spraying his drives into the thick rough and fairway bunkers, resulting in the first of 3 bogeys. When Woods wasn't missing the fairways, he was scrambling to save par as he did on the 11th when overshooting the green. As he approached his shot in deep rough just off to the 11th green, he sighed heavily and let out a stream of obscenities under his breath. Woods managed to save par on 11 by sinking a 12-footer, and Rock just missed a couple of a birdie putt as Woods pumped his fist and appeared to be gaining momentum as he pulled within one shot of Rock on number 13 when the Englishman had one of his 3 bogeys. But the 34-year-old Rock birdied 2 of the next 3 holes to seize control. Rock wobbled on the 18th when his drive landed in a pile of rocks, no pun intended, near the water, forcing him to take a drop, but he recovered beautifully, reaching the green in 4 and 2-putting for the win. So Robert Rock takes on Tiger and McIlroy and comes out on top, defeating both of them. And in New Zealand, in Wales, 14-year-old New Zealand amateur Lydia Ko has become the youngest winner of a professional golf event, taking the women's New South Wales Open by 4 strokes. Ko, the world's top amateur, broke Japanese star Ryo Ishikawa's mark of 15 years, 8 months, and Australian Amy Yang's women record of 16 years, 192 days in the Australian Ladies Masters. The South Korean-born New Zealander shot a 3-under par final round of 69 to finish 14 under for the tournament, 4 strokes clear of Becky Morgan of Wales in a 54-hole tournament at Oatlands Golf Club. Britain's Laura Davies closed with a 71 and a 54-hole total of 216, 14 strokes behind. Ko, a grade 11 student at North Harbour near Auckland, plans to play about 30 tournaments this year, including professional events over the next 2 weeks at the Australian Masters at Royal Pines on the Gold Coast and the LPGA's Australian Open at Royal Melbourne. I'll play in mostly amateur tournaments after that, and my schedule looks pretty busy for the next several months, Ko said. Ko, who says her role models are American golfers Michelle Wie and Alexis Thompson, moved to New Zealand with her family from Seoul, South Korea in 2003. And that's the recap of the action
Milwaukee Brewers and National League
in the world of sports, the world of golf for this week. And we're going to take a break and be back after these messages. For all the listeners of Talking Golf with Gary, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 14-day trial to give you a chance to check out their service. Over 75,000 titles to choose from in many different categories, including science fiction, mysteries, biographies, sports, computers, you name it, they have it. To download your free audiobook today, go to audiblepodcast.com/talkinggolfwithgary. Again, that's audiblepodcast.com/talkinggolfwithgary for your free audiobook today. You can now hear our show while on the go with Stitcher Smart Radio. On-demand news, talk, and more on your mobile phone. The latest episode is always available for you, no syncing needed and no memory or storage wasted. Available for your iPhone, Android phone, WebOS phone, or your BlackBerry. Downloading is easy. Go to Stitcher.com or check out your app store. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
This is Barry from Mets Musings, and you're listening to Talking Golf with Gary.
Five 516-619-6941. 6341. Let me try that again. 516-619-6341. That's our 24-hour comment feedback hotline. Give us a call if you'd like to leave a message or a comment or a question for the show. And, of course, the email is talkinggolf@gmail.com if you'd like to do the same via email. That's talkinggolf@gmail.com. Okay, in other golf news, Meg Mallon is the next U.S. captain for the Solheim Cup. Mallon is a four-time major champion, including the two U.S. Women's Open titles, and she played in the Solheim Cup 8 times. Her overall record was 13-9-7, including a 5-2-1 in singles. She is second only to Julie Inkster in most Solheim Cup points earned by an American. The Americans are coming off a loss to Europe last year in Ireland. The 2013 Solheim Cup will be played at Colorado Golf Club in Parker, Colorado. Mallon was an assistant to Captain Beth Daniel in 2009 when the Americans won outside of Chicago. Hunter Mahan is playing 5 straight tournaments to start the season, including a 17,000-mile detour to the Middle East. Mahan is playing the Qatar Masters next week, situated right between Torrey Pines and Pebble Beach on the golf calendar. It will be his first tournament overseas during the PGA Tour season since he was a rookie and played in France. He said he was offered the invitation over the holidays and had 2 days to reply. It was a tough decision for Mahan, who is playing every week through the Match Play Championship in Arizona. Not only does he face a round-trip flight halfway around the world to a course he has never seen, Qatar is opposite the Phoenix Open, which he won 2 years ago. Qatar is in the middle of the European Tour's Desert Swing, which starts with Abu Dhabi and concludes with Dubai. PGA Tour players, along with top European Tour players, are offered appearance money in these events. Tiger Woods, KJ Choi, and Jason Day are among the regular PGA Tour members in Abu Dhabi this week. And all 3 of those tournaments had more or at least equal ranking points than the PGA Tour events last year. It was rumored that Tiger got between $1.7 million and $2.7 million to make an appearance at that tournament. So it's very lucrative for these guys to take a detour from the PGA Tour and to play especially the Middle East swing of the European Tour. And the PGA Tour is one step closer to eliminating Q School as a path to earning a tour card, a significant overhaul that would include starting the official season in the fall instead of waiting for the next calendar year. At the heart of the proposal is making the Nationwide Tour the primary means of getting to the big leagues. PGA Tour Commissioner Tim Fincham presented the basics of the plan Tuesday night during a mandatory players' meeting at Torrey Pines ahead of the Farmers Insurance Open. The biggest change involves Q School. The plan is for the top 75 players from the Nationwide Tour and the top 75 players who failed to keep their PGA Tour cards to play a 3-tournament series. Players would be ranked based on how they fared on their respective money lists, and the top 50 after that series would earn cards. The rest would have the option of going to Q School, where only Nationwide Tour status would be available. A 16-member player advisory council plans to meet in 3 weeks at the Northern Trust Open. The earliest the overhaul could be approved by the policy board is in March, though it likely will be much later. Actually, I think the current system works pretty well. Why they want to mess around with it is beyond me, but they are looking into it, and some of the players aren't very happy with it. So whether it passes or not, we'll just have to wait and see. It doesn't, at this point in time, it doesn't seem like it would right now, but you never know how things can change as we go on.
Now it's time to do the calendar.
And let's look at the calendar. There's 2 big tournaments next weekend as the PGA Tour moves to Arizona for the Waste Management Phoenix Open, where Mark Wilson will be defending the title. And as we said before, the European Tour moves to Qatar for the Commercial Bank Qatar Masters, presented by Dolphin Energy. and Thomas Bjorn defends at that tournament. And that's the calendar for this week. And let's go to birthdays. And today's birthdays for January 30th is Curtis Strange, who turns 57 years old, and Jill McGill turns 40 years old today. On February 3rd, Carol Mann turns 71, an LPGA legend, and Retief Goosen, two-time U.S. Open winner, turns 43. And on February 5th, Jose Maria Olazabal turns 46 years old. So those are the birthdays for this week, and that about going to wrap it up for this week's show. Don't forget to check out the blog at Talking Golf with Gary.blogspot.com, and you can listen to the podcast weekly at tgwg.podomatic.com, as well as on iTunes. And the show is now available on Stitcher Smart Radio at www.stitcher.com. You can get the app in the App Store or get it right at their website. For your Apple iPhone, your BlackBerry, your Android phone, whatever you're using. And while you're at it, visit my online store at www.zazzle.com/talkinggolfwithgary. And again, you can send your questions and comments to talkinggolf@gmail.com, or you can leave a message on our 24-hour comment hotline at 516-619-6341. So, once again, next week, the Waste Management Phoenix Open and the Qatar Masters will be taking place. And we'll be back next time to report on all of that just for you. And until then, have a great week and keep golfing, and we'll talk to you soon. Good night, everybody.